So about a month ago, I'm at work and we've got a little bit of like a sports bar type situation with TVs and such. And it's around the time of the Super Bowl, within like a week or 2 weeks. And as you know, that's around the time that companies kind of play around with, advertising and new commercials and different business models, introducing new stuff. But anyway, I'm at work and I look up at one of the TVs and I see a commercial. And if you know me, you'll probably guess an ad campaign with a 4:3 aspect ratio. It doesn't matter what you're selling, you've immediately got me in a chokehold. And then I noticed the cinematography and I'm like, hold on 1 second, this is just straight up a well put together commercial. And again, it's like a sports bar, so I can't hear anything, but I'm like, what company could possibly be behind this commercial? But then I see the logo and I'm like, oh. But then I see the logo and I'm like, oh. Fast forward a couple days and I get an email. It's from Starbucks. And in this email, they're like, free refills, mugs, glasses, a condiment bar, and non-dairy milk? So Starbucks has been rolling out a soft rebrand. And you might be asking yourself, Jon-Marc, why are you making such a video on this topic? And honestly, that's a pretty good question because I myself would have never seen me making a video about this. But the lack of attention in the media that this rebrand has been getting had me going like,
fine, I'll do it myself.
And what I hope to accomplish here is, one, to fill you in on this new business model, because the more I look into this thing, the more I realize that there are a lot of layers. And to two, try to answer the question, or at least give my opinion on whether or not this soft rebrand is going to have the effect that they want. So let's start with the most prominent elephant in the room, okay? They changed their name, the Starbucks company, bolstering this motto sans like font. I like a good font. I think a nice serif would have worked well here, but I mean, like, I like the font nonetheless. It's nice. I'm going to touch a little bit more in depth with the actual name change itself a little bit later, but it does come with its own vibe. The entire campaign as a whole plus the name change they're trying to evoke like, a very like vintage, cool, trendy. I think vintage is the best word I can come up with at the moment. I think it fits well. And I mean, like, say what you will, but I like it. The ads entice me. I'm a sucker for the film aesthetic. As you know, I'm kind of sort of getting the same vibes. I'm going to use the word vibe a lot, which I mean, like, I don't really like using the word vibe, but that's just where we're at right now. I'm kind of getting the same feeling as as Jordan Brand's their Love Hurts campaign, which is one of my favorite ads. By the way, and this is coming from a guy who doesn't really care much for the Eagles. But how did we get here? Well, once upon a time, Starbucks had established itself as a perennial third place. What's a third place, you might ask? So, simply put, a third place is basically the place where you spend the third most amount of your time at. Obviously, you spend a lot of time at home, and then you spend a lot of time at work / at school. But then, where do we spend the third most amount of our time at? Now, typically, this is usually, I don't know if you can see that on the board, but typically this is usually like some sort of hangout spot, somewhere where you mellow out, chill, hang out with friends, conversate, eat food, stuff like that. You generally see spaces like this in sitcoms like Friends, Seinfeld, How I Met Your Mother, Recently, I found out that for some people, a third space is like a random parking lot that them and their friends usually, for some reason, find themselves at. Nevertheless, at one point in time, Starbucks was naturally just the best option for a lot of people in both urban and suburban areas. So I'm here at Barnes & Noble, and they're another interesting company because they too have also recently changed their business model. They kind of want to curate their stores to be more, representative of their local communities, making them closer to like local libraries and community centers. This Barnes & Noble has a Starbucks like many other Barnes & Nobles, which makes it a really great third place. It kind of mends what Starbucks once was known for as a great third place. Plus, Barnes & Noble, which like if you and your friends are into like, books or sifting through vinyl after doing homework and stuff like that, then like Barnes & Noble is a great third place. They've got a lot of, nice seating. I wouldn't say like, seating for like a big group of people. This Barnes & Noble in particularly has actually like removed a lot of seating for some reason. But they do still have like a decent amount in the actual Starbucks area. I get kind of like the way it's kind of like decorated or set up, like I'm kind of getting like Central Perk vibes a little bit. And so like your local Starbucks once upon a time served that sort of purpose. But then enter 2020, which came a global pandemic. Have you heard of it? And that meant keeping people out of gathering spaces just like Starbucks. So naturally, they got rid of all of their furniture, they put all of their focus into drive-thru and mobile orders, and even just entirely getting rid of dine-in options altogether. But now, things are back to normal, and Starbucks is going through a little bit of an identity crisis. Not to mention that the price of coffee and all things in general aren't getting any cheaper. And so Starbucks is failing on all fronts. So enter this guy, Brian Nicole, however you pronounce his last name. He was the former CEO of Chipotle. And yes, whatever opinion that you have about Chipotle right now today, yeah, that guy is more or less responsible for that. So Brian's master plan is to fix mobile pickup to prevent overcrowding. I think the word he describes is comparing it to this mosh pit at the door. Which I have experienced walking into a Starbucks to pick up my mobile order, and everyone's just like gathered about in front of the door waiting to pick up their mobile order. He's also homeless proofing the stores, so that means no more bathroom usage without a purchase, and oh yeah, no more free water.
Being like not respectful and not respecting others that are customers.
No, I'm not gonna give you free water. That's disrespectful to our paying customers. So now you have to buy something to even step foot into one of these stores. And like I mentioned before, dine-in options do include mugs, glasses, and free refills. Cool, right? I guess, but now you're asking baristas to do jobs that they didn't sign up for. So we're talking about more dishwashing, waiting on tables, and now they have to worry about guarding the bathrooms, keeping people from using them. And we've begun to see a little bit of an uproar amongst Star Wars. Have I been saying Star Wars? And we've begun to see a bit of an uproar amongst Starbucks employees due to a bit of work discrepancy. Although I do think that this is a pretty easy fix. I think a lot of what's arising to be issues are all pretty easy fixes. I think we're just starting to see some growing pains. They're also implementing this Sharpie thing, which quite frankly I doubt lasts. They are highly encouraging their baristas to write happy little messages on the cups, which honestly I don't have anything bad to say about that one. That one's actually pretty cool. But yeah, just based off of this initial interview with Wall Street Journal, I don't really like this guy all that much. He did have this to say as some final remarks.
The craft, the commitment to quality, what goes into our beans from farm to ultimately the store. And then I also want to see mobile order not be a problem. I'm also confident we're going to have a great Coffee House vibe because we're going to have great seats.
Which I feel like if he wants to accomplish this, I feel like he's going to have to go full minimalist. Overhaul the whole thing and focus purely on the quality aspect. You changed your name to the coffee company, so that implies no more pink drinks, no more refreshers. The things that you are known for, the things that differentiate yourself from your local coffee shops, that all has to go. But then, where do you find yourself as the customer, choosing between Starbucks and your local coffee shop? And it's going to be hard not to pick that local coffee shop unless speed and convenience is really the name of the game. And Starbucks, the fact that you guys serve microwavable food contradicts the quality and coffee aspect of the whole thing, which really says to me that you're catering to the speed and convenience side of things. Okay, so I just walked out of my local Starbucks, and first of all, I just want to say that they're trying to make this place as welcoming and as third place like as they can, at least they claim, but the furniture does not look comfortable, like, at all. Like, just imagine yourself like sitting in a wooden chair. Just imagine yourself sitting in a wooden chair. Also, I frequent this Starbucks a lot. I get a lot of mobile orders, and the CEO, he talked about, making sure that like you're getting your mobile order at the right time. I'll order it. It'll say like, ready in between like 3 and 5 minutes. And usually it takes like 15 to 20 minutes when like the place is empty. Another thing, this Starbucks is always empty. Like, it's never busy. I don't know if it's just location. It is a very weird and interesting location that they chose. It is pretty aesthetically pleasing in there, I must say, very minimalist. But again, like, the furniture, like, it's not even like all that accommodating for like big gathering groups. Like, there's one like conference like table in there, but like that's really about it. Also, if you were wondering, they were making a big deal about their condiment bar. This is what that looks like. This is their condiment bar. So yeah. I didn't see any of like the mugs or the glasses. So, and there were people dining in. So I don't know if like, they just haven't rolled that out here or what. But the name change is very fascinating to me because as of late, I've been going down this really deep coffee rabbit hole. And if there's one person who has really introduced me into the real world of coffee, that would be none other than James Hoffmann.
I've seen things.
His videos have truly introduced to me just how intricate and complex a single cup of coffee can be without all of the sugar and syrups. And it doesn't surprise me at all that Starbucks has over 100 options on their drinks menu. Over 100. So the reality of the situation is Starbucks is trying to be something that they're not. And James Hoffmann had something very interesting to say on a podcast that he appeared on.
For a long time, people were terrified to charge more than the chains, even if the product was noticeably better. And, a real frustration for me. And that's why I'm always going to bat for independence, because it's not like you can spend more. You can get a better product by someone who cares deeply about it. And I think there's a risk in going to an independent if you're traveling. And, Starbucks, the model's built on, I know where to queue, who to talk to, where to stand after I place an order, what kind of food I can get there. It's very safe. If independents feel like a risk, but the reward, I think, is often there for sure.
So I'm here at my local coffee shop. It's called Congregation Coffee. And this place is pretty awesome. I mean, like, look at this cool spiral staircase. There's like this awesome little balcony. It's a vibe. And also, like, the price of coffee isn't that much more expensive compared to a place like Starbucks, but it is a very comfortable and cozy looking third space that you can easily come here. They've got like board games and comfortable seating outside. It's very welcoming, and I feel like it tries to accomplish it does accomplish very well what Starbucks is trying to do with their new rebrand. Like, it's such a fun, cozy, and welcoming environment. Like, definitely come here before you invite all your friends out to Starbucks. And I'm sure you have a place like this wherever you live, somewhere close by. There's always cool coffee shops. And there's always something special about those places. Like this place, I'm pretty sure it used to be a church. And hence of why, like, they call it Congregation Coffee. And then also because it's a great gathering space. Also, something that I forgot to mention while I was actually there, but the food is actually so good. Like, I don't want to sound like a millennial and be all like, oh my gosh, try the avocado toast. If you can afford it, try the avocado toast. But, like, it's amazing. Also, another thing, I just found this hilarious. This is their bathroom. Am I the only one who finds this, like, the funniest thing ever? I think, like, when I walked in there for the first time, I just, like, laughed out loud. No one else? Just me? So, can Starbucks survive? Only time can tell. But what I will say is this. If you're in need of a third place, try your local coffee shop before Starbucks. Try as many options as you can before Starbucks. It just isn't what it once was. But let me know your opinions in the comments. I would love to hear what you have to say, your own experiences with the restaurant and also local coffee shops. Tell me about your third places, all of those type of things. Let's just have a conversation in the comments. Yeah, thank you for watching. Love you guys.